Welcome to my channel. In this video I will talk about IAM. So what is IAM? IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. It is a service in AWS that helps you securely control access to your AWS resources. With IAM, you can specify who can access the AWS services in your account and what all services that person or application can access in your account. Using the IAM authentication and authorization mechanisms, we can control who is authenticated and authorized to use AWS resources. Authentication verifies the identity of the user or the service that is trying to access your AWS resources, and authorization determines their access rights, which is managed by policies and permissions in IAM. IAM provides the infrastructure necessary to control the authentication and authorization of your account. Let us see what are the key components of IAM, which are also called identities. So the first component is users. An IAM user is a resource that has associated credentials and permissions with it. A resource can be a person or an application that uses its credentials to access AWS resources. Whenever you create a new AWS account, a root user is created, which is the administrator, and the root user has permissions to access all the AWS resources. You can sign in as the root user using your email address and password that you had used to create your AWS account. And it is recommended to never use the root user for your day-to-day activities. You should create users for different purposes, like you should create a root administrator user which you can use for administrative purposes, and likewise you should create other users like developers or the other users for your specific use cases, but you should not use root user because root user has unlimited access to your account, which could be risky. Then we have another identity called user groups. User group in IAM is a collection of IAM users. You can create different groups according to your requirements, like you can create a group of administrators or a group of developers in your account, and you can assign permissions to groups. For example, admin group has permission to billing services. Similarly, you can create a group of developers who can have access to various services like code commit or S3, DynamoDB, EC2. We can define permissions and attach them with groups so that whenever you add a new user, you can directly add that user to a group, and he will get the permissions associated to that group, and you don't need to give permissions to individual users. Any users in the group will automatically get the group permissions. Then we have roles. A role is an IAM identity that has a specific set of permissions. Unlike IAM users, role is not associated with a specific person. Anyone who needs to use the role would have to assume the role, and roles can be assumed by entities that you trust. A role doesn't have long-term password or credentials like access key or secret key. Instead, when you assume a role, it provides you with temporary security credentials for your role session. And IAM role can be used by an IAM user in the same account, or an IAM user in a different AWS account, or the role can be used by an AWS service like EC2, or an external user authenticated by external identity provider. Then we have another identity, which is policies. A policy is an object which, when associated with an identity like user, group, or role, or any other resource, defines their permissions, and policies are stored as JSON documents. AWS evaluates these policies when an IAM user or role makes a request, and permissions in the policies determine whether the request is allowed or denied. So this was all about the basics of IAM. So thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, please leave your comments and do subscribe to my channel for more such videos. In the upcoming videos, I will discuss these IAM identities in detail. We will see how we create the users, groups and roles, how we can attach policies with those. So keep watching these videos and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.